can never get this right.
Can we edit the YouTube one?
Probably. I had an editor.
Mm.
Hey, fam, LG here.
Hey, I'm Skylar.
Is that it?
I was trying to be calm.
Oh, she's trying to be calm. So this is our Hot Mess to Hope episode 5. Can you believe it's been 5?
I know.
5. That's crazy. So we are super excited, super appreciative that you tune in with us each week. If you have watched the previous episodes, and if you've actually watched us, this will be number 5. Put a 5 down in the comments because we would like to know who's getting value out of this. I had some sweet messages this week about how fun this is for people.
That's
I'm sure
great.
it's you. Of course, it's probably the Billies because they were on last week and they probably stole the show.
Definitely the Billies.
They need a Billy show.
Yeah.
They need to stay off our gig. Not really.
They couldn't do without us.
No, couldn't do any of the things.
No.
So, but it was funny, and I felt bad because her Billy, so we both have Billies. Her Billy, he was so nervous, and like when he started, he forgot his date because he started with this because you started your sobriety date, and he didn't know, and he had this deer in the headlights look, and he got his date wrong, and we're like.
I know. I watched the first part of the video.
I've watched it 1,000 times.
I know.
Any views that we have is probably me. Press it over again just to watch them start. But then I felt bad because it is hard to go live.
Yeah.
And I forget whenever, and I felt really bad because I went live in one of my private groups, just me, and you weren't here next to me, and it took me 28 minutes to push go live because I was like, how do I do that? I'm like, it's because my sister's with me, and so then I felt really bad that it never even crossed my mind that he would be
so nervous
or scared or whatever in front of the camera, and I'm like, oh my, so I felt bad, but it was so funny. It was so funny.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, I recommend going back and watching episode 4. Just the first 10 minutes is all you need, and that summarizes my life.
No, it's so funny. So funny.
He is such a great joke.
And I just thought he was going to come on and be like a jokester, and he was not. He was all, and we're having fun. And I was dying. And of course, we're making fun of him. And that's not probably very nice or Christian-like at all.
We were not making fun of him. We were laughing with him. He just wasn't laughing at the time.
I think at one point I was like, is Boo mad? Because I was making fun of him.
No, it was great. It was great.
It's funny. So, but we are sisters who are coming to you all Monday nights at 7 to talk all things addiction. I am are we recovering? We're recovering. I'm a recovering food addict. So 10 years ago, I started an amazing weight loss program that allowed me to conquer food addiction, lose 88 pounds, completely transform my health. And so now I am super passionate and just dedicated to helping others have that same hope and be able to live a healthy lifestyle. And with that, tomorrow is actually 9 years that I will have sobriety from alcohol. And so super excited about that. Didn't know that.
You should come pick up a 9-year chip.
I should. I didn't, but didn't know I needed all of that.
I personally have to be rewarded for all this time. I need it. And now that I've hit my year, my next one isn't until 18 months, and then it's 2 years, and then from there it's 3 years, and then 4. And I'm like, I'm an alcoholic. I need instant gratification.
So yes. So you're recovering from alcohol and from
meth.
Yes.
And from pain pills.
Yes.
And from
all the things.
I was gonna say all the good things, but not really.
I'm recovering from all the good things too. Swiss cake rolls, zebra cakes.
Look, I gotta go.
Your hydraulics in the chair.
I was up too high. I was like,
are you down too low now?
Why was I Amazoning over? It was bothering me. I'm looking down at you okay, this is awkward. Thank goodness for movable chairs. But my heavy weight made me go too far.
No, it's just because it's gotta push it up again.
Okay,
gotta push the button again. Going up. Okay.
We should have did this before we hit record.
Maybe we should have done. So we just come on and we have fun, and that's one thing that you're all about is showing people how you can have fun in sobriety.
Absolutely.
And it's like because you're the life of the party everywhere you go, and so I think that it's that it's super important what you're doing, helping people know that they can recover, and not it look like doom and gloom and. No, that they can live their best life now.
Stupid, boring, and glum. We are not a glum lot.
Not a glum lot.
Not.
Yeah. And so I think that that's pretty cool. Just good evening. We're so excited. And so this week I had talked about a couple different things just about, talking to people who are, getting value from what we're doing and talking about how they're watching, which I think is really cool that people come in and watch. But I was actually spent some time with our mom this week, and she had made a comment about just talking to you and having different conversations or whatever. And some of the things that she said, and Billy and I, we're sisters, and we also married to Billy's. And so my Billy, he had made the comment about how for so long you didn't have anything to really look forward to, and like you weren't setting goals. And so we talked about how people, whenever they are in that world of addiction, there's not goal setting, there's not dreams, there's not hope for anything better, that you're just kind of in it.
Right.
And so he kind of thought that it would be cool for us to talk about that, about goals and dreams and living your best life and doing things like that now that you're outside of addiction. And I thought that was really cool to think about how your life has been and kind of where you thought you were, or how you kind of thought life was going to be. Like it's just the way that it was never going to change, and kind of like how you were living and sort of kind of what you see. Like now do you agree with that? That now you are setting goals, that now you're seeing a brighter future, that's...
So there's there's two sides to this. So obviously I'm human and I have feelings, right? So if y'all have heard, or if anyone have followed my Billy and I's story, you hear us repeatedly talk about the opportunities that were given to us that we just sort of ran into the ground. Like, for instance, after Papa had passed away and we lived here, but in a different trailer, it was just sort of just handed to us while the rest of y'all kind of moved out, right? We wasn't responsible for anything but maybe the electricity bill. So that was kind of handed to us. And we ran that into the ground. And then we had another opportunity where my sister-in-law helped us out with, giving us a place to stay. And we ran that into the ground. So coming at the time, we didn't think of it like it was nothing, honestly. We literally packed up, left all of our crap, and just started over. Like every move that we've ever made, we just started over, right? And at the time,
leaving your things behind and just moving.
Right, valuable things, everything, anything.
And the people that helped you out along the way, we kind of thought we were doing what we were supposed to do, helping you.
Right. And we
learned, like, through your testimony, that you can't do that with a drug addict. That's not helping.
Right. And that comes with being an addict, being an addiction. That just comes, like, most family members are not going to understand an alcoholic or an addict. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and at the time, we never once thought about it. We never, it was what it was. But now that we're sober and things are going okay, let me rewind for a second.
Okay.
So so in my addiction, I remember my very last couple months of using, how I felt that what I was doing, where I was who I was going to be for the rest of my life. Okay?
Okay.
And I got to a point where I was perfectly content with that. Okay? Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, well, this is who I am. This is how it's going to be. You know, I'm never going to be anything. I'm never going to do anything. I'm never going to go anywhere. This is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. Okay?
Okay.
And that's where I was. And I don't really know if it was depressing or not. Again, I was the addict that enjoyed it and blah, 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 you know.
So you didn't feel depressed necessarily?
And there were times. So it's hard to say because, you know, whenever you're a meth user, you have your moments where things are great, everything feels good, you feel good. You know, you ain't got a job, you ain't got a ride, you ain't got a phone, you live with your mother-in-law, but life is great because you're high.
Because that is your life. You didn't have a phone, you didn't have a car, you didn't have a life, you didn't have a job, you lived with your mother-in-law.
Right.
Okay.
But life was great because I was high, you know.
Okay.
But then there was the coming down part where if I didn't have any, or, you know, I had been up for a couple of days, my mind wasn't right. So then the depression kicked in. But anyways, so, and that was the up and downs. You know, you've experienced those up and downs, you know, like whenever I would call you and be like, oh my God, I'm dying.
Yeah.
You know, like it was me being overly dramatic, probably hadn't slept in a while. You know what I mean? So it's just those things that you have to look and take into consideration. And the next day it was like I was fine and nothing ever happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but at the time it was such a crazy thing because you would call me saying he was beating you.
Right.
And I would go and clearly he's standing there. And I'm going, why are you beating up my sister? And he's like, she stabbed me with a fork. And clearly he had been stabbed with a fork.
Right.
And so I'm just like, this is nuts.
Right. And then like 5 minutes later, everything's fine, you know, and that's really how it was for everything, you know. It's just like my prayers to God. God, please get me out of this situation. I promise I'll never do it again. And wake up the next morning, you know, it's just crazy.
When he had said last week, which something that really, of course, you know, after we were laughing at him, whenever he actually got to talking, he said something that I've really thought about it a lot this past week. He said, when you're in addiction, like there's no love there. That's what he said. There's no love. And I was like, oh my God. Because clearly you two love each other.
Right. Well, now, I mean, but then I don't really know.
It's such a crazy, like to hear him say that, I was like, wow. Like it was just a profound thing for him to be like, there was no love. There was just war and fighting and all of that.
Yeah. And I always pick on him all the time because like, and even people, you know, that we hang out with, like it's funny. He's such a snuggle bug. You know what I mean? So like we snuggle, he snuggles. He sends me the sweetest text in the morning. Like we're just two totally different people. So, but anyways, so let me get back to the goals things because you know I can go off topic all the time. So, setting goals, getting sober, like now you look at it like, okay, well, now it's time to do something. Now it's time to start building a life for ourselves, right? He has a job, I have a job. Like it's time to get moving, time to do things. But of course, then there's the setbacks of everything, you know, like I'm still human and I still look at things like, well, you know, what I want and what I don't want and what, you know, like I think I mentioned in a meeting I was at that, you know, I dwell on things a lot. Like, here I am, a year sober. Things should look differently. I shouldn't feel this way. I shouldn't act this way. I shouldn't do, you know. But I'm growing. I mean, it's a growing process, you know. And then I think about the kids. Like, I dwell on the kids all the time. I'm like, why are they so crazy?
Yeah.
You know? Like, they're more crazy now than when I was in addiction. But they were in survival mode.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So Chloe had to take care of Jesse. So she wasn't fighting with him because she's taking care of him. You know, she's worried about, you know, she doesn't want him to get hurt. She doesn't want, You know, I remember her sheltering him all the time. Jesse, just don't say anything. Just Jesse, you know. Well, now, and after her going to therapy, you know, and me talking to her, it's like, okay, you can stop playing mommy now. I'm mommy. And she kind of, it was a really weird thing that she went through.
There was some pushback for a while.
Right.
Because she was that. And then,
right. And then here I come, like, who do you think you are coming to play mom?
Yeah.
Well, now they are typical brother and sister, a 12-year-old, and she is literally acting her age.
Yeah.
You know? And so I can't blame her. Like, it's not her fault. This is not her fault.
Sure.
She is acting how I want her to act. Act like a child. Be a child. Be a kid.
Yeah.
Stop playing mommy.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, you know better. Like,
but you know, I love that you are allowing her to get help that she needs and not trying to push it under the rug, you know, and that you're just like, you know, you can be mad at me. I understand that you're mad. You have every right to be mad at me because what we did was wrong. And let her go through those phases of things. And Jesse, he's like you. He's just the life of the party. So he's just happy everybody's okay right now. But I know that if he needs something, you're going to make sure that he has it.
Of course.
Too, you know.
But the one thing I do struggle with is that he doesn't hear my voice. Like, I can tell him to do something. I can ask him to do something. And he's just like... He doesn't do anything. He doesn't listen to me. Grandma, he listens to grandma, period. Like, it's all about grandma.
I met his grandma. Brenda, it's okay. I'll listen to you too.
We all listen. Yeah. But it's, he's all about grandma. But he doesn't hear me. Like, Jesse, pick up your toys. 5 hours later, Mom, I took a long break. What do? That's the longest break ever, Jesse. But, and I feel this way today. Okay, I can say this today because over the weekend, I was with all my wonderful people, my family, and I talked about this because, like, I was really in a depressive state. So I had to verbally talk about the fact that my life looks on the outside like I am thriving. I am thriving in my recovery. I'm thriving at work. But my home life is just crazy. And I'm like, why is it like that? And they're like, well, you have a lot of repairing to do, And so people gave me some great advice. Well, I talked about selling Jesse on, Marketplace or something, but I don't want to go to jail.
You've avoided it this long.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. It's just, I feel like I'm failing in that department, right? Everything else I'm thriving in with full confidence. Recovery, work, full confidence. Like, but at home.
So the goals that you are setting are around relationship repair and things like that.
Yes.
Not necessarily going out and changing your life. See, which is cool because before you would change your life on a whim.
Exactly.
And now you're like really thinking it through and doing that.
I'm just wanting to repair what is at hand. You know what I mean? And like, and I say this all the time, like jokingly, but not jokingly. Like, we already know Billy is perfectly content living with mommy for the rest of his life. Like, he is perfectly fine, And I just dream big, right? Like, I want my own land with my own big house, and it's like, those are really far stretch goals.
Yeah, but you weren't having any of that.
Right. But now it's like, okay, Skylar, calm down. You're 35 years old, have no college education. Like, you're not about to live in Marymount. Like, just face it. You're not going there. King Oaks is not in your future. So but I do dream of those things, like a pool. Like, I just want a pool. But Chloe would literally drown Jesse, so I can't have a pool. So it's just small goals.
You just want to live like our bougie brother.
I don't know what I want to live like. But, so my my point to this, I go left field all the time. My point to this is I didn't realize what I was given and what I had until I got sober. Not when I lost it, because even then I didn't know. But it wasn't until I got sober and I started thinking, oh my gosh, now I have to work for what I want. Like if I want this land, I'm gonna have to work for it. I'm gonna have to earn it. I'm gonna have to get it. I'm gonna have to hustle. Whenever at one point in time it was like, just get.
Yeah.
So now I have to work for it, and it kind of hurts, because it's like I'm never gonna get there, And then I'm like, you know what? No, I got this. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
But for now, I just want to repair the current situation. Like I just want to repair it in all areas. But
I'm hoping that, like, even though there are things that you did and damages and hurt, and I don't think that really there were burned bridges. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that those of us who helped you or whatever, that it's, that those relationships are still good and strong and maybe even better.
Right. And I do believe that. I don't think that there's any burnt bridges. We just had dinner with the whole family on Friday. And actually, my sister-in-law, Lisa, came to me while we were eating, and she shared, she was like, man, she was like, listening to y'all, there's just crazy. It opened my eyes to so many things, So she's like, so many things that I didn't even realize. And it's cool that we can have that conversation today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The conversations that Brenda and I have, because we're home together, we live together. I know that she wants, she loves watching us grow. She's loving this, but her too. She's like, okay, it's time to.
She's about to kick y'all out the nest.
No, she's not. No, but she too wants us to do something, make that next step, take that next step.
Continue to grow.
Continue to grow, right? Yeah. And she, like, we all know that the people, that we surround ourselves with, the Brazos Club, or our group of people. Think that she is a saint, right?
Sure,
and so I always laugh about it. I'm like, Brenda, they think you're a saint, But she's put up so much too, but she's also watched us come out of that. And so she just wants to see us grow. But
I think it's amazing, it has been amazing watching you all come out of it because of how buried you are in it.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, just watching it happen has been such a beautiful thing. And
yeah.
So it'll be fun to see what you do.
I don't even know what we're going to do. There's no telling. I do have goals and I do have dreams, but like I said, I dream big. I dream way big.
Yeah.
Like, there's this Dodge Challenger at work, and I'm like, I want that.
You want that?
I don't need it. I don't need it. It's a 2-door. Like, I don't need it. Yeah. I ain't got no business.
Yeah.
But I want it. I want it so bad. And like, I've looked at houses, I've looked at, lands, I've looked, and I just look at the prices and I'm like,
you'll get there.
I hope so.
So you have an opportunity to, I guess, train or something this week on a step.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that without getting in trouble?
I think so, yeah. So, I mean, we all know that Billy is in drug court. And so I was invited tomorrow. Well, I actually invited/volunteered, and I honestly didn't think that they were going to allow it because I'm not a participant in drug court. I'm just, a support in drug court. But they're allowing me to do a little presentation on step 4, which is out of the big book.
Okay.
It's making a fearless and making a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves or yourself.
What does that look like?
So it looks like you make a list of all the people that have affected you in your sobriety, or even during your addiction. Just you make a list of names and what they did and how that affected you.
Positive and negative?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So basically, you just list people in your life.
Right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I could put, I always pick on mom, so, I can put my mother, didn't want me, said I was an ugly baby, and that has personally affected my life for my entire life because I thought I wasn't wanted, like.
You can put all of that. My sister loves me, and she's the coolest person in the world, and I have nothing negative or bad to say. All of that.
So even those things, like, it's just stuff like that. And then, and it's crazy because, for me, that was easy. That was an easy step, but some people, a lot of people struggle with that step. Yeah. And if you ask Billy, he'll tell you, he struggled with it because it's putting pen to paper, and he's just lazy.
Just lazy.
And that's
do a lot of people struggle because they have a lot of resentment and hurt toward people, or because they've been hurt? Like, what is it?
Either or, and it's just almost like reliving it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And I've been in some meetings, and I've heard, and it's been really heartbreaking, but hearing some of the ladies talk about, like, if they've lost their kids.
Yes.
Now you can let me know. I mean, I don't know any of them. I'm not going to name drop, but I don't want to say anything. But I mean, that does happen in addiction, that sometimes people get their children taken away. Right. And it's hard because whenever you're sitting here and maybe you're on the outside and you're going, I can't believe that they're doing this, and even to the point of losing their children, and you can kind of have a judgment on that. But when I'm sitting there and I'm listening to this mom, and she's like, and I'm seeing how that drug has such a hold, that even something as extreme as that, and just seeing them just cry because they want so much for that not to have been, want so much for that not to have had that hold on them, and so I'm sure those are things that they have to deal with too.
Of
Choices
course.
that they've made that
cost
them their children, and then trying to
and it's crazy too because it's funny that you said that, because I read this thing on Facebook not too long ago, and it said don't tell me you love your kids if you can't get sober for them. And I told Billy, I was like, I am deeply offended by this post. Like, I am deeply offended. Like, you don't know me. Like, I felt so attacked. But on the outside looking, I can look at it both ways. If someone who doesn't know anything about addiction, and they look at it like, oh, well, look at her choosing drugs over her kid. They don't know. They don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've heard them say, how gut-wrenching it is. Knowing what it's going to cost, but not being able to stop.
Right.
It's just
I mean, I say this all the time, that thank God I didn't get what I deserved, because, I mean, I made a choice with my oldest. That was my choice. You know what I mean? He wasn't taken away. So it's actually more crappier what I did than just him being taken away, right? But I always look at things like, man, the things that I put Chloe and Jesse through couldn't have been any less than what someone else has gone through. You know what I mean?
So, like with your oldest, you just chose, you believed that he was better being with his dad and not seeing you in that situation, and knowing that he would have a better life.
Right,
and
of
Chloe
course.
and Jesse are with you because you were also with their dad.
Right, of course. So
would you think you would have made that same
choice?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if you remember correctly, like, I mean, these are horrible words to even repeat, but I remember at one point in time, like we said at the beginning, Billy and I's hate for each other was just so awful. And I remember at one point in time telling him, take the kids. Like, you can have them. I walked away from one. I can walk away from two. Like, and I remember those words, and I'm like, like, what a crappy person, like, what a crappy person. And I have repeatedly repeatedly have prayed to God about saying those choice words. Even though, I didn't say it to them, I didn't say it to anyone else, I said it to Billy. God knew how I felt, and I'm sure at that time I was completely serious. You know what I mean? I was probably so serious at that time saying it. But I couldn't, the situation between with Jaden was so much more complicated than, like the shared custody. Okay. Yeah. So I'm in addiction, active addiction, like horrible. We don't have a car. He goes to College Station schools. Chloe's going to Bryan schools. Jesse's going in the middle of town. 3 different schools at 3 different times. No vehicle, or one vehicle that barely works. I couldn't get, it was, now had I been sober, maybe it would have been possible, right?
Sure.
But at that time, in that moment, it was not possible. I had 0 gas.
But if you'd been sober, your entire life would have been completely different.
Of course. But I shared my story a few Fridays ago, and I talked about Jaden, and I lost it. Like, I completely lost it. I cried like a little baby, and I remember going, oh, man, I can't believe I just did that. Like, I lost it, and I couldn't, it took me a while to, like, bring myself back to continue talking. But I'm still healing because I'm still able to talk. Like, right now, I'm able to talk about him, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that I don't ever, like, cry about it, because I do.
No, I know that you do. We've had many conversations.
Yeah. So,
I'm prayerful that, that will.
And I try. It's not from a lack of trying. I've reached out to Michael several times. It's not the lack of trying.
But it's just like that, repairing.
It is.
It's the repairing the relationships all the way around.
Exactly. It is. So it's just baby steps. Everything is just baby steps. And I know at one point in time when I feel like, oh my gosh, nothing's going right. But when I lay my head down at night, it's like, okay, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Like, this is everything like, it's in God's hands. Like, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. You're stepping. You're stepping in faith and working the steps and doing the program and doing all the things, and
like these videos, like I dwelled on these videos too for so long, but like something just tells me it's right, like it feels right, so keep showing up every Monday.
Well, I hope that you have a good time doing your training. I'm sure that there will be a lot of value in that. And again, I thank you for being so open and honest, because we get on here, we have a lot of fun, but we also know that there's times whenever we're going to have to talk about some serious stuff. And this was serious stuff, And like I have, one of my girls I'm really super close to, and she's a foster mom.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets those babies. She gets those babies with the moms who just can't get over the stuff.
Yeah.
And so I know that, so seeing all of this on all these different sides, it's just such, there's so much beauty in a lot of ways. Whenever you can look, you can find the good if you're looking for the good, and you certainly find the bad if you're looking for the bad.
Right.
But whenever people fall, and there are other people who are on the other end that can, pick it up, and give these children a life. There's so much value in that too.
Right.
Such a, I don't know. It's hard.
Right. Well, because the foster parents are doing what the parents can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's whether they can't do it or choose to not do it. You have to just remember that they're sick and they're not in the right state of mind. You know what I mean? It's an illness. It's a disease that takes over you.
Yeah, and I've read like the high, like the high that you get from meth is just so much, greater than like even with cocaine is like, I don't know, 400% release, and it's like 1,500. See, like, you're like, oh, that's just a major, like, I don't know, like
it's like, would it be considered relapse if I did a line of cocaine? I'm just kidding.
Do y'all see what I have to do? This is what I have to do. It'll be a relapse if you drink a root beer. Are you kidding me? Stop it. Stop it.
No, I'm just saying that's how you can compare cocaine to meth. Like, it's two totally different things, personally.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I've heard that if you try meth, you're on it. Like, that's just the way.
You're done. You're done.
Yeah. Yeah. Say no to drugs. And 2 boxes of Little Debbie snack cakes at a time. But we are here for you if you need help with sobriety, help with your health, whatever you need. We're here for you. Thank you guys for tuning in, and maybe next week will be fun and laughing again. And not
I know
so
this is kind of serious. I know.
But
It's great. I mean,
I hope that this is helping you.
it's real.
It is real. We are very real. We're very open, transparent, and here to help offer hope however we can.
Bye. Can't wait to see you next week. Have a good week. I've always wanted to do that.
You've always wanted to do it again. Oh, wait, now.
Double.